Well, welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. We'll start out today seated. You don't have to sit just how I'm sitting. Sit so that you're comfortable. Maybe that looks like this. Maybe it's different. Maybe I switch my legs because that's more comfortable now. Sometimes if you got trouble in your knees, you can help out the sore or sorer knee if they both give you trouble by changing which one's in front when you sit cross-legged. Less bend in this one, which acts up more these days. Tune into grounding in your seat. Feel your contact with the ground. Think of the length of your spine. Think of the crown of your head reaching towards the ceiling. And if you want, close your eyes. Do whatever is comfortable with your hands. Rest them as you like. Notice your breath. Allow it to start slowing down and getting deeper as we come to stillness. Observe the movements of your breathing and the sensations that accompany these movements. Begin to scan your body from head to toe. Notice whatever there is to notice, whatever sensations are present for you. And make particular note of anything that doesn't feel so good. If there's any soreness or any stiffness, anything that needs some TLC, maybe think of sending your breath to that place, those places. Maybe there's more than one. Noting what's acting up so that you can take care of it during practice today. Exercising the freedom to skip or modify anything that you need to take care of what you've got going on. You're always welcome to do your own thing. You can consider everything but the breathing optional. All the cues, suggestions. At times you might do less than I'm doing. At times you're welcome to do more than I'm doing if that's what you're feeling in that moment. I will not be issuing corrections. Sometimes in certain postures, there's a common way to do things that can lead to an injury. And I might point that out and suggest don't bend your knee past this point or, things like that. But in general, doing your own thing is best, listening to your body. There's no one right way. There are some occasional, I even hesitate to say wrong ways. Some things we'd like to avoid doing. Whenever your attention wavers during class, when your focus shifts away from noticing your breathing and noticing what's going on in your body, just gently bring it back. Wherever your mind has wandered, come back to center. It might be over here. Come back. It doesn't matter how many times. Just be gentle about it, practicing compassion towards yourself. We don't need to beat ourselves up because our mind wandered. That's one of the things our minds do. We just come back to this witness self, we call it in yoga, this stance of self-observation, this noticing. So these can be our shared intentions to listen to our bodies, to observe and take care of ourselves. You may have a more personal or specific intention you want to set for this practice today. If so, let that come together. And sink in for a few breaths. And with our intentions in place, let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths before we start to move around. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sigh. If your eyes are still closed, open them up. So today we're going to focus on shoulders and neck, the upper body. We've done some practices recently where we focused on the heart. We're shifting just a bit north of that too, and see what we can do about shoulders and neck. They're both very complex and both things we work with a lot. They do a lot for us. Let's see what we can do for them. We store a lot of excess muscular tension in the neck and shoulders. And we'll work some out today. Really simply start with some circles in the neck very slowly. Let your chin come down towards your chest. And as slowly as you can stand it, roll your ear towards your shoulder and let your head tip back and roll your ear towards the other shoulder, coming back through center. Understanding that slowly is a relative term, and maybe you don't go as slow as I do. Maybe you go even more slowly. And if you come to a tight spot, you might pause at the tight spot and rock back and forth. Maybe ease out some of that tension in that spot, maybe untie a knot. Take a few circles in the other direction. Maybe you already changed direction and maybe your body already suggested that to you. And when you finish the next circle, look forward again, lift your chin. Bring your hands out to the sides and rest your fingertips on the floor. And we'll do some side bends with some traction for the neck. Inhale, raise your right arm up alongside your ear. And as you exhale, let your arm drape over your head. Let your fingertips come to rest by your left ear. And just let the weight of your arm gently bring your head over to the right. And if you like, you might lift your left hand and reach out through your fingertips. Not a lot of height, just lengthening your arm to lengthen the trapezius on this side. Maybe think of breathing into the left side of your neck. And let the left hand down if it's raised. Let your neck stay passive. Let your hand slide across the top of your head and come down to your cheek, and use your arm to lift your head instead of using your neck. Let your hand down. Inhale, raise your left arm. Exhaling, let your arm drape over. Gently bring your head to the left. And if you like, extend out through your right fingertips. Sometimes that part of letting the neck be passive and letting the arm lift the head is the trickiest thing. When you take your hand away and you think, I want to raise my head, your neck automatically wants to engage. So there's a mental aspect to that, like, don't engage, let me help you. If it's raised, lower your right hand. Let your neck remain passive. Let your hands slide over and come down to your cheek, and let your arm do the work. Nudge your head to center. Let your hand come down. Bring your hands in a little closer. Let your arms just sort of hang. Raise your right shoulder up towards your ear and shift it back. Let it down. And then your left shoulder up, back, and down. We often do that one standing, but we can do it just as well seated. It's pretty much the same. Inhale, reach out toward the walls. Exhaling, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or if you like, come to eagle arms. Now, maybe you've never done eagle arms seated, but there's no reason you can't. You can intertwine your arms, press your palms together. If you're doing eagle arms instead of grabbing your shoulder blades, draw your elbows and your hands up and out, away from your chest, away from your face. On an inhale, spread your wings, and as you exhale, cross your arms the other way, grabbing your shoulder blades and hugging yourself, or taking eagle. Inhale to open up. Exhale to let your arms down. Inhale your arms out and up. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms up toward the ceiling. Reach up. Look up at your hands. Lift up your heart. Inhaling, slowly come upright. Exhaling, bend to the right. Feel for length through both arms. And try not to lift your left butt cheek off the floor as you bend to the right. Inhale, come up through center. And as you exhale, bend to the left. Try not to lift the right cheek away from the floor. Try not to let the right shoulder curl forward past the ear. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, let your arms come out and down. Bring your hands in front of you and just walk them forward as far as you can, wherever that is. And let your head come down. Nice, simple forward fold. Inhaling, walk your hands back, press up to a seat, sit yourself up. Now let's come up onto our hands and knees. So you can tip to one hip and swing your legs around, plant your hands, and get things squared off. Open your hands way up. Bring your shoulders above your wrists. Bring your hips above your knees. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, bring your heart up. Let your head and tailbone come down. Following your breath. We don't have to go at the same pace here. See if you can use the whole inhale to come forward and the whole exhale to go back and up. And then come back to table. And we're going to shift for a moment into a plank and then set up for some deeper shoulder opening stuff. So step one foot back, press into the ball of your foot, step the other foot back, make your way to plank, and just settle into the plank for a few breaths. letting your hips come down in line with your shoulders and heels. You can always drop your knees to make a shorter plank if you like. With an exhale, slowly lower all the way down, keeping your elbows in close. See how slow you can go. Maybe you need another breath or two to get there if you're going really slow. And bring everything down. Come onto your belly. Even rest your chin on the floor and tuck your toes. And reach your hands out to the sides, palms on the floor. We're going to use the floor like a great big prop to work on opening the shoulders like this. Walk your left hand in towards your body and press away from the floor. So you rock onto your right hip, pressing your right shoulder to the floor. Let the right side of your head rest on the ground. So you're lying on your right hip. Your right shoulder is really pressing against the floor. Your left hand is pressing against the floor, nudging you up onto your side. Now that might seem like plenty to do. Maybe that feels like enough. If you want to explore further, you can lift your left leg away from your right, like opening a pair of scissors. You might let your left heel drift back. You might bend your knee and let the weight of your leg hang and see what happens with gravity and breath. Sometimes the weight of the leg will draw the foot towards the floor, and maybe it'll surprise you and touch down. Maybe it'll hang in the air. Just see how much that hip wants to open. And as the weight of the leg goes further, of course, the right shoulder gets more and more opening. If you want to explore further, you can pick your left hand up, reach up toward the ceiling, and rotate your arm in its socket. Think of an owl turning her head back and forth. And like a weather vane. You might also just fold your arm across your lower back here. So you can do just the shoulder opening against the floor. You could do the arm extension without the leg or the leg extension without the arm. Exploring these options like we do when we do a twist on all fours, which I know we did recently. Maybe a week ago we did that one. So if you've moved your left hand, take your time to bring it back to the mat planted by your face and really lean into it to steady yourself. And then if you've moved your left leg, take your time to raise your foot, straighten the leg, lower it against the other leg, and slowly walk your left hand back out so that you come back onto your belly. And you could rest your chin or rest on one cheek if it's not comfortable to rest on your chin. Take a couple breaths before we do the other side and tune into that right shoulder. Does it feel different from the left shoulder now? I think it probably does. It's okay if you can't tell. It's okay if it doesn't feel different yet. Notice what there is to notice. When you're ready, walk your right hand in, press up onto your left hip, rest the left side of your head on the ground. If you like, raise your right leg, let your heel drift back, maybe bend the knee, see what happens, see what your body wants. And if you want to explore raising your right arm and rotating it or folding it across your back, choose your adventure. If you've moved your right hand, take your time, bring it back, plant it by your face. And if you've moved your right leg, take your time to undo that extension. Lift the foot, straighten the leg, lower it against the other leg. Slowly walk your right hand back out till you come back to center. Pause again for a couple of breaths. Notice both shoulders. Notice what's going on in each one. Notice any differences. Bring your hands back in under your shoulders. Press into your hands. Inhale, lift your head and chest. And come up to Cobra, whatever height is good for you. So choose your heart opener, like if we were doing a sun salutation. Low Cobra, any Cobra you want, listen to your low back. If it's upward dog, fine, do your upward dog. See what your low back wants. Press into your hands, rock back onto your knees, sort of pass through table. Curl your toes under. Press into your feet to lift your knees. Press into your hands to lift your tail. Downward dog. And pedal your feet up and down. Walk your dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look forward. Exhale, step your feet to meet your hands. Hang out in forward fold. Swaying back and forth, bending and straightening your legs. And let's explore some traction for the neck. So interlace your fingers, bring them to the base of your skull, sort of hugging your head with your forearms. And just keep swaying back and forth like that. Let the weight of your arms draw your head down, lengthening your neck. Let your arms hang down again. Slowly nod your head yes. And shake your head no. Inhale to lift up halfway. Hands to the front of your shins. Push against your legs. Help the crown of your head reach forward away from your tailbone. Exhaling, relax down. Inhaling, roll up to standing, hands up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Relax your hands at your sides. Because we're focusing today on our neck and shoulders, we'll repeat some things. Lift your right shoulder towards your ear. Shift it back and let it down. And then your left shoulder up and back and down. And maybe you notice a difference between how it felt just now and how it did when you're seated. And maybe you just developed a preference you didn't know you had. Inhale, reach out toward the walls. Exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or come to eagle arms. And if you're an eagle, remember, reach your elbows and hands up and away. Inhale, spread your wings. Exhale, cross your arms the other way, hugging your shoulder blades or taking eagle, breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, spread your wings. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to come back through center, and exhale to twist to your left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to let your arms down. Inhale your arms out and up. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms up. Look up at your hands. Lift up your heart. That probably feels deeper than it did when you're sitting. I know it does for me. With an inhale, bring yourself upright. With an exhale, bend to the left. Feel for length through both arms. Try not to let the right shoulder curl forward past the ear, or let your right heel lift off the floor. With an inhale, come back up through center. And as you exhale, bend to the right. keeping your left heel down and your left shoulder back. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, let your arms come out and down. Inhale your arms out and up. And exhale to fold forward. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to fold forward. Plant your hands and step back to plank. When you're ready, exhaling lower halfway or all the way if you prefer. Drop your knees if you like. Inhale, bring your heart forward, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, rock back and up to downward dog. Pass through table if you like. Nod your head. Shake your head. Inhale to bend your knees and look forward. Exhale to step or hop forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Just realized my camera work error here. I'm chopping my head off. So I'm just going to mix up my sun salutations a little bit. I'm stepping back away from you to give a better view. And instead of stepping back to plank, I'll be walking my hands forward to plank. Instead of stepping my feet forward from down dog, I'm going to step my hands back to down dog. So you do it however you want. That's just one of the ways we modify a sun salutation for Zoom for camera consideration. As long as you can see me, that's what's important. You don't need to change what you're doing so I can see you. I can only see so much of you because you're all in your own little Zoom boxes on my screen. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Make your way to your plank. Whether you're stepping your feet back, stepping your hands forward, doesn't matter. We all get to plank. When you're ready from plank, exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Exhale, back and up to downward dog. Make your way from down dog to forward fold, whichever direction you're going there. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. Then exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale down. Make your way to plank. When you're ready, exhale lower. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale back and up. And we're just going to rock between down dog and plank a few times. Nice work for the shoulders. Inhale, glide forward to plank. Really find the plank shape, hips in line with shoulders and heels. Exhale, push back to down dog. And do it maybe 3 more times. Use the whole inhale to come forward and find your plank. Use the whole exhale to go back and find your down dog. Now let's all meet in plank. And then good news, lower down. All the way. How slow can you go? Find the strength and the slowness. Disengage, untuck the toes. Now reach your hands back next to your hips with your palms down. Different sort of heart opener here. Working towards some deeper shoulder work. Inhale, lift your feet, your hands, your knees, your chin, your chest, fingertips, reaching back in the direction of the toes, pointing away from the crown of the head. Big belly breaths, rocking you up and down as your belly moves as your lungs fill and empty. With an exhale, slowly lower down. Turn your head to one side, rest on your cheek for a couple breaths. When you're ready, turn your head back to center, rest on your chin. And now bend your legs so your heels are reaching towards your butt. And one side at a time, reach back, grab your foot or your ankle. And then after the first one, reach back, grab the other one. So you wind up holding both feet, both ankles. A strap can be handy here if you have trouble reaching your feet and really connecting with the grip. You could run a strap across the tops of your feet or front of your ankles and hold the strap in your hands. A very similar movement here. Now the shoulders are much more involved than when we're just reaching back with empty hands. Inhale, lift your knees if you can, lift your chin, lift your chest, feet kicking into the hands. If your knees don't lift, it's not a problem. Might just be the length of your limbs. We're all built a little differently. Big breath. Oh, keep holding onto your feet. Relax down. Maybe your knees come down. Let your chest down. Let your chin down. And then release the grip on your feet. Keep them sticking up. You could rest on one cheek if you don't want to rest on your chin. And let your legs wiggle back and forth, sort of like windshield wipers. And let your legs down. Now reach your hands to your sacrum, and can you interlace your fingers at the small of your back? Inhaling, reach your knuckles towards your heels. Lift your feet, your knees, your hands, your chin, your chest. Sort of like what we do with the clasp of the hands when we do bridge and we wriggle our shoulder blades together under us. Or similar to what we do in fish when we wriggle our arms under us and lift our back off the floor, supported by our arm. Exhale, slowly relax down. Rest on your chin or on one cheek. Unclasp your hands, let your hands rest on the floor. Bring your head back to center if you're resting on one cheek. Bring your hands up under your shoulders and press up to table. And now we'll do the twist I mentioned earlier when we were pressed against the floor on our shoulders. So going deeper kind of in the other direction, that was a shoulders back kind of shoulder work. Now will be shoulder forward and deepen that, creating even more space in the shoulder girdle, the shoulder joints. So this is a twist that goes from the waist up the spine into an arm extension. Go to your left first. So inhaling, twist through your lower back, middle back, upper back. It's small movement at first, then reach your left arm out and up and look up at your hand. Exhale, come down, reach across, thread the needle, reaching behind the other arm. And let's do that 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. And then nice and gently, let your left shoulder down on the floor. Let the left side of your head down on the floor. If it doesn't quite want to reach the floor, shift your hips forward until it does. And as with the thing we did when we pressed flat against the floor, we have options with the arm and the leg. Maybe you stay here, maybe this is plenty. If you want, reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. That's one option. You might also pick that foot up and reach straight back in the air. You can tip over onto your back if you do that, so be mindful. That might happen. It's a gentle fall, but it happens. You could also, if you like, bring your right foot over by your left hand. You might even get your foot in your hand, depending on the length of your limbs. Doesn't matter if you do or not. And if you want to explore moving your arm, similar to what we did earlier, you might reach your right hand up toward the ceiling and let it go back and forth. Owl turning her head, shoulder socket. Or you might fold your arm across your low back. If you've moved your right hand from the floor, bring it back and plant into it. And if you've moved your right leg, swing it back behind and bring your knee down. Pressing into your right hand, inhale, open up again, reach up and look up. And exhale and come down, plant your hand. Take a few rounds of cow and cat breath before we do the other side. And while I grab a sip of my water, so I can keep talking. We're certainly getting warmer, and my throat is getting dry. When you're ready, come back to table. And we'll take the twist to the right. Inhale from the waist up through lower back, middle back, upper back, into the right arm extension. Exhale and come down, reach across. And we'll do it 2 more times. Maybe each one goes a little further. Maybe you open more, maybe you twist more. And take your time. Let your right shoulder down. Pardon me, let the right side of your head come down. Explore as you like, and remember you can extend the arm without the leg or the leg without the arm, or do both or skip both. You might reach back and press into the ball of your left foot, or reach your foot back in the air, or bring it over by your right hand. You might reach your left hand up and explore rotating your arm in your shoulder socket, or folding your arm across your low back. When you're ready to come out, if you've moved your left hand, plant it again to support yourself. If you've moved your left leg, come back onto that knee. Inhale, open up and reach up and look up toward your hand. Exhale, bring your hand down. And again, take a few rounds of cow and cat. And we'll make our way to a seat so you can cross your ankles and walk your hands in towards your knees. You might roll over your ankles like this or tip onto one hip and spin. Either way, make your way to a seat, however you like. And let's extend the legs forward. Flex the feet back towards you. Simple forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. If your knees want to bend, let them bend. Explore deepening the fold with your breath. When you inhale, think of the crown of your head reaching forward. When you exhale, think of lowering a bit more. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs. Nudge your legs apart. Let your arms help your legs. Bend your leg. Bring your left foot over by your right leg. Pivot your torso. Aim your sternum at your right foot and flex your right toes towards you. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over your right leg. Explore deepening the fold for a few breaths. Inhale, maybe the crown of your head draws forward. Exhale, maybe you lower some more. Slowly bring your left hand in towards your heart and extend it out to the left. Then rotate your arm. Turn your thumb down, your palm back. Fold your arm across your low back. Now, options here, you might slide your hand up your back. You might think of a hand gently nudging your left shoulder back, feeling your heart towards the sky. Extend your arm again. Undo that rotation. Reach your arm up and over your head in the direction of the other arm. As if you wanted to grab your right foot with your left hand. Reach your arm up and out to the side. Bring it back through center, over next to the other arm, and walk your hands up the front of your leg. Letting your arms help your legs, extend the left, bend the right, bring the foot over, pivot your torso, flex your left foot. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, fold on down. Spend a few breaths here, maybe folding forward a little more with each breath. Take your time to bring your right hand in, extend it out, rotate, palm faces back, thumb points down, fold the arm to the back. And your hand might rest right by your sacrum, or it might slide up higher. See what feels beneficial to you. And think of the right shoulder being nudged gently back, opening your heart upwards or forwards, maybe a little up, depending on where you're at. And slowly extend your arm. Rotate the palm forward, thumb up. Reach up and reach over your head. Good. Reach up and out. Bring your hand back through center. Over by the other hand. Walk your hands up your leg. And let's sit up. Extend your right leg. Let your arms help. Nudge your legs towards each other and bring the soles of your feet together. If there's room for you to do so, slide your hands under your ankles and grab the floor. If that doesn't work for you, you can reach your hands over your ankles and grab the floor. You're going to walk your hands forward using traction in your arms to bring yourself into this pretzel shape. And let your neck relax, let your head drop down. Breathe into your low back. So we think about the forward fold as a release for the low back, which of course it is, but you may notice today, all the focus we're going on shoulders, this is a good amount of shoulder extension and engagement right here, this arm traction, right? So sometimes it's doing a different thing that brings a certain body part into focus. Sometimes it's just shifting your perspective on something you've done a lot. Because of course, a lot of these movements aren't simple, and there's more than one body part or area involved in pretty much anything you do. Sometimes we only talk about one thing or focus on one thing. This fold is absolutely involving your shoulders. Even just the dynamic of arms under legs, your legs might be pressing against your arms and deepening the shoulder extension. Slowly start to scoot your hands back. Use those arms to press up to a seat. Keeping the soles of your feet together. Now draw your heels in as close as you can. Interlace your fingers and grab the tops of your toes. Wriggle on your seat. Bring the bones in your seat closer to the ground, tilting your pelvis. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhale, hinging at the hips, spine long, fold forward. You might even think of your shoulders drawing back here. You don't want to collapse the chest as you fold. When the long spine isn't lowering anymore, then let your neck relax. Breathe into your hips. And here, the dynamic of nudging your arms against your legs, nudging your legs down and your hips open, can also be nudging your shoulders back, drawing your shoulder blades together. Again, just a shift of focus. Inhaling, slowly sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs. Lift your knees towards each other. Rest the soles of your feet on the floor. Rest your hands on the floor out past your hips and wiggle your feet further apart. If you're on a mat, you can go by the edges of the mat as a good distance. Let your knees go back and forth. And as your knees go down to one side, you might turn your head to the other side. You might, as your knees come down, sweep the opposite arm up and lift that hip. It's a nice movement for the shoulders. We've opened up so well. And it's a nice action in the front of the hips too. And then we're going to set up for bridge. If you have yoga blocks, you might put a block between the tops of your feet on the middle position. If you don't have blocks, you can do this with your hands and put them between the tops of your feet. And that's how far apart your hip sockets are. So now your ankles will be lined up with your hips. You're going to lower onto your forearms and onto your back, scooting your butt towards your heels. So that when you're on your back, your knees are pointing up, your feet are planted, your heels are as close to your butt as you can get them. And if you have blocks, you might place one between your knees, again on the middle position, helping knees stay aligned with ankles and hips. Press into the soles of your feet. Inhale, press your hips towards the ceiling.
There's your basic bridge pose. If you want to go further here, I referenced this earlier, you might wriggle your shoulder blades towards each other and clasp your hands under your sacrum and reach your knuckles towards your heels. Check in with the neck. Make sure your neck is relaxed. Sometimes here we'll scrunch up our necks. It doesn't help anything. It's wasted energy. Let the neck relax. If your hands are clasped, unclasp them. Exhale nice and slowly. Let your hips down. How slow can you go? We'll explore bridge for a minute here. Inhaling to float up and exhaling to lower down. Go as high as you want or as slow as you want. Higher and slower equals more challenging. You could take extra breaths at the top. You could repeat, clasping your hands, drawing your shoulder blades together. You could take extra breaths at the bottom if that's what's calling you. You could slide a block under your sacrum and come to rest on top of it for a supported bridge. You could do a bit of each of those things. It's amazing what you can fit into a minute sometimes. Couple more breaths, exploring whatever you like. And let your next exhale down be the last one. And pause for 2 or 3 breaths after you land. Feel that nice grounding contact with the sacrum. Cross your right ankle above your left knee. Make a figure 4 shape with your legs. Reach your arms out to the sides. Feel your shoulder blades press to the ground. Aiming to keep your shoulder blades grounded, let your legs fall to the left and turn your head to the right. Nice and slowly come back to center and switch the cross of your legs. Left ankle over right, right knee. Let your legs go to the right and turn your head to the left. Take your time to come back up to center. Uncross your legs. Draw your knees towards your chest. Hug your knees. Rock and roll on your back. Massage it against the ground. Whatever movement feels good for you. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up to grab your feet or your legs. Play with bending and straightening your arms and legs, exploring movement in happy baby pose. If there is some other inversion you'd rather do, go for it. Invert however you'd like. Many different, fun, sometimes challenging ways to bring your feet and your legs higher than your heart. Which is a good thing to do each day to allow for healthful drainage of your feet and legs. Helping to undo some of the effects of gravity, freeing up things that get stuck in the feet and the legs from all the time we spend standing and sitting and walking. When you feel complete with your inversion time, make your way to Shavasana. And maybe for you today, that's the classic Shavasana, corpse pose with your legs extended, feet splayed apart, hands resting outside your hips, palms up or pinky edges on the ground. But if you're not comfortable like that, please get comfortable in whatever position works for you. You can conclude practice breathing, resting, and integrating the benefits of your practice in any posture where you're comfortable. Perhaps focusing on your breath as a nice simple meditation, or coming back to an intention you had set for yourself. Or just letting your mind wander off. Maybe setting an intention for the rest of your day. Perhaps to stay mindful of how you're using your neck and your shoulders, how you might care for them. Maybe repeating some of what we did here throughout the day. There's so much that we do that contributes to rounding our shoulders forward, tilting our head downward, looking at a phone, a computer, a book, a newspaper, a steering wheel. We're a very front-bodied culture. We ignore the back body much of the time. And we all have some degree of habitual rounding forward in the shoulders. We all have a needed tension in the neck. And as we stay mindful of this, cultivate this awareness and increase in self-care, we do it compassionately, not beating ourselves up. There's no sense stressing about stress, tightening up over tension, introducing meta problems. Get curious, stay curious, explore what works for you. Start to find some deeper breaths. Nice and slowly, let your body begin to move around, starting out small. I'll make some suggestions. Wiggle your toes and fingers, maybe. Roll your ankles and wrists, gradually letting the movements grow bigger. Perhaps turning your head side to side, letting your neck gently wake up. When you're ready for some bigger movements, you might draw your knees towards your chest, extend your arms overhead, and let the weight of your legs tip you to one side, pausing in a fetal position. And as you're ready, pressing your hand to the floor to gently push yourself up to a seat. And we're back where we started. If you like, bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for coming together to share and practice today. The light within me sees and honors and bows to that same light in each of you. Namaste. Remember to visit our tip jar mechanisms at urbanyoga.org. They're also listed on our Facebook page. Check out the rest of the class schedule. We have classes every day with several wonderful teachers. And you can check out my other offerings at The Painted Yogi on Facebook or Instagram. I'll see you next time. I'm here 8:15 a.m. Pacific, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if you're joining us live. And questions and feedback are also welcome every time. That's not just the folks here live, but the folks who see this on YouTube later. Feel free to drop some comments for us. They're very helpful to me.